Buongiorno. Nah, I'm just playing this one in English. Yo, I don't know why y'all wanted the focaccia recipe in English, man. You should just went and learn Italian. You're making me work twice. Yo, anyway, it is what it is. Without further ado, sourdough focaccia. First things first, artisanbrine.com. That's where you can find the recipe. Sourdough focaccia. I'm gonna see what we need here. We're gonna start off with 500 grams of all-purpose flour, 500 grams of bread flour. So 1,000 grams of flour, 1 kilo of flour. 250 grams of levain, sourdough. Man, y'all, all this terminology probably driving y'all crazy if you're new at this. I'll just call it starter for you. I got 730 grams of water, 30 grams of sugar. I've got 25 grams of salt and olive oil that we're gonna add in the next step. This next step, we're just gonna put our water, starter, sugar, and flour. We're gonna mix that up. And in the next step, we're gonna add the olive oil and salt. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Take our starter and start to dissolve it into the water. Just like that. And what I like to do is save some of the water I've got. So I don't have all 730 grams of water in here. I've taken about 100 grams out. So I'm gonna start with about 630 grams. So we can add the water slowly throughout the process and not end up with an oily soup dough. All right, starter's in there. Next, we're gonna put the flour and the sugar. And what we're gonna do is basically mix until there's no dry flour left. That's it. Mix until there's no dry flour left. Dry flour? Nah, son. I don't want you. I want smooth dough. Oh yeah. Don't be afraid to squeeze it. And now we're gonna let this rest before we start adding a little more water. We're gonna add olive oil, we're gonna add salt, we're gonna add this, we're gonna add that, you know what I'm saying? So that's gonna rest. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do now is slowly, well, not slowly, we're just gonna dump our olive oil in, apparently, because that's just what I did, and our salt. This is after the initial mix has rested for a little bit, and then we're gonna add as well a little bit of the remaining water, maybe about half of that remaining water, and we're gonna squeeze it for a while until we start to see the water and oil absorb, you know? Yeah, it's feeling excellent. It's feeling very, very nice. So just kind of keep squeezing it. All right, guys, after everything's been incorporated and you let it rest for a little while, we're going to now strengthen and reinforce the dough with a little slap and fold type situation. You can see the surface of the dough getting smooth. That's what I'm looking for. And then we're gonna let it rest again before doing a couple of stretch and folds. Okay, so yes, dough has rested about 30 minutes and I'm gonna kind of just pull. I put it back in an oil bowl and I'm gonna pull at each end and stretch it from the outside into the middle and then flip it over. And we're gonna do this a couple of times. So here we go now, 30 minutes after that. So we're about an hour after we've incorporated the oil and salt here. And I'm gonna use the same technique of stretch and folding. All right, guys, now it's time to shape the focaccia. And so I am flouring my work surface here. This is after the fermentation, the initial fermentation. 5-6 hours, just kind of depending on how the dough is. So what we're gonna do is kind of shape it into that, kind of rectangle, triangle type thing, and start from the top. Push the top into the middle, and I'm not putting too much tension here, just gentle shaping so that it can expand while it goes into the fridge to proof. We're gonna put it on a sheet pan with olive oil. All right, you made it to the next level. Look, it's time to bake the focaccia. After you do that final shape, you want to get it onto a sheet pan. You want to put some olive oil, cover it in plastic wrap, put it in your fridge. Now, this is after the cold fermentation. This guy is ready to roll. This is my favorite part. It's my favorite part of doing this, okay? So you'll see. That's why you don't want to shape it too tight, because you're gonna start to see it spread out a little bit. And now it's ready. It's right for us to you know what I'm talking about? To do you, boy. You're gonna put some more oil on. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do the thing where we make it like a little square for you, a little rectangle. You know what I'm talking about? My favorite part. All right. So, if this is not your favorite part of making focaccia, well, I don't know what to tell you. We're gonna get a little more olive oil on here. We're gonna give it that nice little tiger claw type back rub here, that little, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really scratching it though. And then we're gonna start with that, easing the ball of the finger into it, and then we'll come from the other side. I mean, our dough is absolutely fabulous today. It's a thing of, in Spanish we say una maravilla, you know what I'm saying? So we'll hit it up like that. You could turn it, you know what I'm saying? Give it a bump on the other side. And we're ready for our toppings. So I'm going very simple on this one. I'm gonna go with some cherry tomato, and I kind of just push these guys in randomly throughout. Then I'm going with some onion, some white onion. I like the flavor of white onion on the focaccia. And I kind of just scatter these guys. Don't really push them down or anything. Then I will finish with some oregano. Some sea salt, and a little more olive oil. That is a lot more olive oil. And there it is, everyone. I baked the focaccia at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. You can go a lot hotter or a little bit hotter. I like to do 425 sometimes. Sometimes I like to do as high as 550. It just depends on how long you have. This one had to cook for a little bit longer. But yeah, there it goes into the oven. We've got a great crust, a great color. You can see the inside of the focaccia. I'm happy with how light and airy it came out after cutting into it. I didn't even let it rest, I just cut straight into it. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy. This is me cutting into the focaccia while it is piping hot, and I'm very happy with, like I said, how it came out. If you have any questions, make sure you hit me up in the comments. You already know what it is.